All right, listing objections, one of my favorite classes to teach and share. Very engaging class as well. I know there'll be questions that you guys will have when it comes to listing objections. You know, without listing objections, we really are not able to convert the listings, right? We need people to object in order for us to move forward, in order to convert the lead. So let's get started. So now to prevention. So here's a couple of things. To prevent listing objections, questions, and concerns, you must first allow sellers to self-discover. Guys, be a leader. A lot of agents want to talk about how many years they've been in the business, what company they work with, but ultimately it's a matter of getting the seller to self-discovery. Move beyond opinion. What that means is this, you know, stick to fact base. Stay away from opinions. Stay away from opinions. Become a strategist. Become a strategist. Don't just swing it. See, a lot of times agents, I know across the years of my business, I've gotten better at winging it less, And as always, you have to track your results. You know, tracking results are really difficult for many people, including myself. But just a paper and pen will be just fine. Paper and pen. My recommendation is a pad, a legal pad, marble notebook, as classic as that. Yes, and yes, it may seem old school, but it works. Because in order to do that, in order to improve your results, you need to track them. So now improve your results, then cause your results. Pricing objections. When faced with pricing objections, questions, or concerns, stay curious. Stay away from arrogance, right? So when people are arguing over pricing, when it comes to sellers, stay curious about how they arrived at that price. Stay away from, I'm the market expert, I've been in the business for so many years. Ask how they arrived at the price. That leads me to the next one. Stay away from arrogance. Because when you say, hey, you know, I haven't seen pricing like this, I'm 20, 30, 40 years in the business, I work 7 days a week, stay away from arrogance. Stay logical. This one is not an easy one. Neutralize your emotions, because of course, when you did a lot of work and prepared a listing presentation, and then the seller, you said the house was worth $900,000, and then the seller said it's worth 1.3, it's almost natural for you to not show how upset you are because they're so far off the price. Your job is to stay calm. That's a Tony Robbins moment for a second. Stay calm. Think about how they arrived. Go back to the first part. Stay curious. Stay curious. And at the end, stay proactive. One of the most challenging things over the course of my career is walking away when you thought you had a piece of business. Walking away when you thought you had a piece of business. So if you went in there and told the homeowner it's $900,000 and they said it's 1.2, and you know that you're going to need like 5 price adjustments and it's probably going to expire, you have to know the walkaway price. And that's not being cocky by saying, oh, I'm not going to take the listing if I take it at this number. Guys, explain to the seller that you are a professional, and by acknowledging the price that they arrived at, that's way beyond the recommended price, is acknowledging the price that they're putting together. You know, you're validating rather, sorry, you're validating the price that they came up with. And that, my friends, usually leads to expired listings, because within 30 to 45 or 60 days, they're going to say you were the professional and you took the listing at that price. So know your walkaway price. And I get it. It's hard, especially if you've got one listing and the perception is, but Mike, I know these people are serious. Deep down in my heart, they're serious. Well, overpricing, there's something else there. With data today, you must be hiding under a rock. If you told them the price is $900,000 and then they said it's 1.2, they must be hiding under a rock. There's so much data today that's available. So be careful when acknowledging overpricing. So pricing objections, here we go. Here's a list of key beliefs you must possess as a pricing specialist. Number one, pricing homes is not an exact science. Number two, informed people make intelligent decisions. I learned this, I wouldn't say the hard way, but I certainly learned it, I'll call it the hard way. I learned the hard way through the downturn that if you don't over deliver on data and tell the seller, here's everything I've done so far, every single time, those sellers more than likely will not move off the price. See, the challenge is most agents start off with a great listing presentation, come in there with the laser beams, hit them with what they thought was the right price, but have not continued on with providing more information as the listing goes on. So what happens is when you go in and ask for a price adjustment and the seller doesn't feel as if you either, one, did everything possible to get the right price because you haven't communicated that well, then sellers are just probably not going to make the decision to adjust price. You see, people, when they're making decisions about price adjustments, either one, it's motivation, from my experience, or two, not enough information from the agent to make an informed decision. Because I hear it all the time from agents. But Mike, I can't get them off the price. And I usually ask, well, why is that? And I say, hey, have you given them a market update every 30 to 45 days? Yes, okay. Oh, and then if they say yes, okay, what type of update? Show me your checklist. And more times than not, there's no checklist. And I'm saying, well, when you did the listing presentation, you probably went in with a checklist, a CMA, all these things to price it right. Have you continued that on as the listing was on the market? And so what I meant before about learning the hard way is that if you're not consistently staying in touch with the seller over time during the market, when it starts to slow down, when it starts to transition into a buyer's market, whenever that may be, people want more data. See, when the market was growing, moving, sometimes they're okay with not having enough data because the market's just moving so fast. Right, so homes sell for two reasons. Sellers determine the price. Buyers determine the value. The buyers determine the value. Don't the buyers determine value? The market determines the value. The buyers determine the value. Prices should never exceed the value. Right, so using needs. I need this money to purchase that house wherever I go. Huh. That's great. I'd like $10 million in cash right now so I can go buy the beautiful yacht that I've always wanted, right? I need $10 million. I want to sell my house for $10 million. And yes, I know you only told me $2 million, but I need the $10 million so I can go buy that island I always wanted to, right? Stay away from needs. Sellers' needs can never be used to justify value. Buyers seldom pay more than fair market value. Hello? With data today, come on, people. Put the seller in the position. Put the seller in the position of, hold on one second. Guys, you see me okay? Thank you. All right. So buyers seldom pay more than fair market value. Why? Think about it. Tell the seller this. That seller's going to buy a property somewhere else, perhaps, most likely. And how are they shopping for property? They're using data from their agent. So if the house is listed at 800, and most houses are selling between 780 and 840, are they going to pay 950? These are things you should ask your seller. This will help them get off the pricing objections. Stay away from the I need. And then when they say I need, seek to understand why they need so you can address their concerns. Competition determines price entry point. The pricing game is all about justification. It's all about justifying. Can you justify this to the buyer? Can you justify this to the seller? An effective pricing strategy supports win-win working relationships. Everybody wants a deal. Buyers want a deal. But will buyers, especially as the market transitions to a market where buyers have a little bit more control in how the pricing and the terms roll out, they will use data to support their offerings. The way during like right now, we're in a transition market. During that transition market, you should be using data to prove to the buyers that the market may not be as bad as they think. In a market that's a little bit slower, use data to push forth. You should have always used data, but I understand when the market was flying and moving so fast, it was a little bit harder to pause because you don't have a buyer. Okay, there's a difference between taking listings and selling listings. There are opportunity costs associated with taking overpriced listings. So let's talk about opportunity costs. Okay, if it's not money, then it's time that you could be doing something else. And in terms of business, naturally, going to get better listings, better buyer deals, okay? And in terms of also your own personal life, things you could do on your own, right? You could have spent more time with your family, your dog, going to the gym, whatever you like to do, okay? Pricing homes is neighborhood or area specific. Being in micro markets in Brooklyn and Staten Island and all of New York City, there's a ton of micro markets. I mean, block by block, there's pricing changes. So pay attention to that. Tangible tools trump all opinions. People will trust and follow what you can logically and tangibly explain. If you can't explain it, right, and we've gone down this road before, it's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell, right? Isn't it interesting to generate leads? Agents usually say, it's a great time to buy, interest rates are low. It's a great time to sell because prices are going to go down. Ooh. Is that logical? It's a great time to buy, interest rates are low. It's a great time to sell because the prices are going to go down. Okay. People will trust and follow what you can logically and tangibly explain. And it's unacceptable to leave the seller's money on the table.